1 out of every 2 adults in the United States can expect to die from a heart attack or blood vessel disease. Every year, thousands of children and infants are seriously hurt or die from injuries that could have been prevented. These are important national problems. The American Red Cross has designed this course to teach you life-saving skills, to help adults, children, and infants in an emergency.
Thank you. How was your food?
Very good, thank you. How you doing today, Mr. K?
Fine. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Dorothy, how are you?
Hello, Robert.
You finished?
Oh, yes, very good. What are you getting, Dorothy?
Thanks, Rox. See you next time.
Dorothy, what would you like for Christmas?
Less aggravation. How are the crowds this year, Mr. K?
Just horrible. Don't wait till the last minute. That's all I've got to say.
You have a happy holiday season.
You too, dear.
Nancy, will you watch the register for me for a minute?
Well, sure. Do you want some coffee?
No, thanks. I've had too much already.
She looks like she could use a good rest.
Well, she sure does. Are you sure you don't want to order now?
No, I'm going to wait. Did you watch that game last night?
Yeah, I didn't think too much of it. It's kind of slow.
I know. I fell asleep on it.
Yeah, maybe next week we'll have a better game.
I hope so.
Certainly, do you?
Hi, Dorothy.
Oh, hi, Reed. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Would you like a cup of coffee?
Sure, love one.
Get the man a cup of coffee, Barney.
So how's that Christmas shopping going?
Oh, not too good. I got behind this year.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, I'm about
creeps up on
halfway
you.
through. I got the kid stuff done. And my wife, thinking about it.
Barney, would you get me a glass of water, please?
Sure.
What you gonna get her?
I was thinking of a piece of jewelry. Something like, I don't know, the 6-year-old's probably going to like Christmas this year.
Boy, they really grow up fast.
I
Thanks,
know,
buddy.
Yeah.
Feeling all right, hon?
I'm just a little upset.
Well, it can't be my cooking.
Yeah, those kids. Yeah, they really grow up fast.
They go.
Is it hot in here to you? Or is it just me?
No, no.
it's not fine.
Want the heat turned down?
I want to go turn down the thermostat.
Okay. So, you think that...
Dorothy!
Is she okay?
Most medical emergencies happen outside the hospital. If you know what to do, you can help.
Barney, call an ambulance. She's not breathing and there's no pulse.
Right.
This course will teach you how. Today, you will learn basic principles to guide your actions in every emergency, no matter whether the victim is an adult, child, or infant. These are the emergency action principles. Survey the scene. Do a primary survey. Call EMS. Do a secondary survey.
Help!
You will learn life-saving skills to help an adult, someone 9 years of age or older, a child, someone between the ages of 1 and 9, and an infant, a baby less than 1 year old.
Infant not breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
You will learn how to perform rescue breathing for someone whose breathing has stopped. A respiratory emergency is a situation that makes it difficult or impossible for a person to breathe.
Are you choking? Help! Child choking. Call EMS. I'm going to help you.
You will learn how to give emergency care for someone who is choking. Rescue breathing and obstructed airway skills are performed in respiratory emergencies. These emergencies can lead to cardiac emergencies. If a respiratory emergency is recognized and cared for, a cardiac emergency can often be avoided.
No breathing, no pulse. Call EMS.
In this course, you will learn life-saving skills for a cardiac emergency. A cardiac emergency can happen to a child or an infant, as well as an adult. A cardiac emergency occurs when the heart is not working properly or when the heart stops beating. For adults over 45, heart disease is a leading cause of death. You can reduce the risk of dying from a heart attack by learning how to recognize the signals and knowing what to do. Life-threatening emergencies can happen anywhere, anytime. You can play a vital role in saving lives by giving first aid when an emergency does happen.
Hurry, please. Mrs. Huber fell down. Somebody's doing CPR on her.
The American Red Cross developed this course in an effort to help reduce the death toll due to cardiac and respiratory emergencies. By knowing what to do, you can help. This course will teach you how. No matter where or when an emergency occurs, you must be prepared to act. This film will show you how.
How much further do we have to go?
Shut up. Seriously, guys, you won't believe what I found.
Hey, it's gonna be like the last time.
What do you mean?
Hey, and the time before that. Hey, remember the Super Bowl tickets? Or the girl, what's her name? The one
Her name was Sharon. It wasn't my fault.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Listen, guys, if you don't want to follow me, that's just fine with me.
Look, Benny, we wouldn't be down here if we didn't want to see this thing. Hey, I know I wouldn't be down here, man.
Come on,
Bums
Spinner.
hang out down here.
There are no bumps back here. Mr. Pomerino watches this place like a hawk. Ken, I don't want your little brother coming in.
Hey, my mother stuck me with him. I have to watch him. Just keep him out here. I know he's a pest, but he has to come in. I gotta take care of him.
He's not coming in.
All right, I'll take care of him. Spinner, you gotta stay out here.
Oh, come on. Let me come with you guys.
No. Look, just wait out here. We'll only be a few minutes. Hang loose, buddy, all right? Hey, watch your steps.
Come on.
There's nothing but junk in here.
Just come on.
Another one of Benny's wild
Wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Feast your eyes on this.
Man, check this
Isn't it
out.
awesome? Get the
This
light.
is great. Suppose you're sitting right outside, Benny. When
It's
did you
not
find
sitting
this?
outside. I found this yesterday on my way home from school. Tell me
Get
when.
it up. I'm getting out of here, man. I'm not getting
Get the kickstand.
Come on, man. Stay and try and start it. Come on, let's try and start it once. No,
I
man.
found
Come
it
on, just let,
yesterday. I'm the one who found it
come on,
first.
just
It's
let me
mine.
start it. Come
Do
on.
you know how to start it?
You'll never get
Benny, you
started
have
at
no
this
idea.
rate. It's Paul Marina.
Get out of
on, man,
here.
get out of here.
Hurry up. Oh, man.
Spinner!
In an emergency, you must act immediately. The difference may be life or death. What should you do first?
Watch you guys, the wire's alive.
Remember the emergency action principles.
Hey, let me get his arm. No, don't move him. I know what to do.
Is he okay?
Oh, man, I wonder what happened. Spinner! Spinner, you all right? Spinner! Come on, Spinner.
The emergency action principles are 4 steps to remember when you must help someone in an emergency. Follow these steps so you will not forget anything that might affect your safety and the victim's life.
Benny, go call an ambulance. It's 911. Wait, tell him he's been electrocuted and he's not breathing. Right, I'll be right back. Hurry! Hey, is there anything I can do to help? Yeah, just stay here.
Harris County, 911. What's your emergency?
I need an ambulance.
Always follow the emergency action principles in this order. Survey the scene. Do a primary survey. Call EMS. And if appropriate, do a secondary survey.
Oh, man! Spinner!
First, survey the scene of the emergency. Take in the whole picture. Ask yourself, is it safe to approach the victim? Is the victim in immediate danger? What happened? How many people are injured? Are there bystanders who can help? Do not move the victim unless there is an immediate danger. Tell the victim and bystanders your name and that you are trained in first aid.
Watch you guys, the boy's alive!
Next, do a primary survey.
Hey, let me get his arm. No, don't move him. I know what to do.
Is he okay?
Is anything immediately life-threatening to the victim?
Spinner!
First, check for unresponsiveness.
Spinner! Come on, Spinner.
Then, check the two most important body functions, breathing and blood circulation. You do this by checking the ABCs, airway, breathing, and circulation. Ask yourself, is the airway open so the person can breathe? Is the victim breathing? Does the person have a pulse? Is the victim bleeding severely? If you find a life-threatening problem during the primary survey, begin emergency care immediately.
Benny, go call an ambulance. It's 911. Wait, tell him he's been electrocuted and he's not breathing. Right, I'll be right back. Hurry! Hey, is there anything I can do to help?
After the primary survey, you have enough information about the victim's condition to call EMS, the Emergency Medical Services System.
I need an ambulance.
Make certain whoever calls the EMS system gives the following information: the location of the emergency, the number the call is placed from, the caller's name, what happened, the number of victims, the victim's condition, and the help being given. Finally, if appropriate, do a secondary survey. This is a series of checks for possible injuries or problems that could cause difficulties later if not taken care of. There are 3 steps. Interview the victim or bystanders about what happened. Check vital signs, breathing, pulse, and body temperature to see if they are normal. And check the victim from head to toe looking for injuries.
Come on, buddy.
In an emergency, you must ask a victim's permission before you can begin to help. If the person is unconscious, you can assume permission is given.
Come on, Spinner, breathe.
Remember the emergency action principles. Survey the scene.
Do it.
Do a primary survey. Call the EMS system. And do a secondary survey.
Come on, Spinner. Come on, Benny, hurry up.
Follow these steps in every emergency. Your personal safety and another person's life may depend on it.
This way. It's the last store at the end of the warehouse.
Cruiser 650, be advised, we're on the scene of the warehouse. We're going into the interior now.
All right, he's breathing now. Let me see his jacket. All right, everything's gonna be all right,
650, be
Spinner.
advised, I'm on the scene of this
He wasn't
warehouse.
breathing before, but he is now.
Got exposed electrical wires. Notify the power company and fire department.
Spinner.
Spinner. Spinner, can you hear me?
He's ready! He looks pretty good. Here. Uh-huh.
Oh, my God.
Oh. Willie, where's Grandma?
Still outside.
Okay, I'll go and get her.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mark, can you get my shirt?
Help! Hurry! Help! Help! Hurry! Hurry, please!
In a crisis, take in the whole picture. Then care for the victim.
Grandma, are you okay? Grandma, are you okay?
Check airway, breathing, and circulation. If you find the victim is not breathing and does have a pulse, call the EMS system and begin rescue breathing.
Mom, call an ambulance. Hurry.
Without oxygen, the brain will begin to die within 4 to 6 minutes. Rescue breathing is a way of breathing air into the lungs to keep the victim alive.
My telephone number is 843-6992. Please hurry. Yeah. The ambulance is on the way.
Willie, go up front and wait for the ambulance.
Okay.
If the victim begins to breathe, monitor breathing and pulse closely until EMS personnel arrive and take over. Roll the victim onto one side if he or she starts to cough or vomit.
Grandma, how you doing? You okay?
Rescue breathing is given when a victim is not breathing but does have a pulse.
We're going to take care of you. You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine.
In every emergency, survey the scene. Do a primary survey. Call the EMS system, and if appropriate, do a secondary survey. If you find a person lying on the ground not moving, survey the scene to see if it is safe and to get some idea of what happened. Then begin a primary survey. First, check for unresponsiveness.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
If no response, shout for help. Roll the victim onto his or her back. Check the ABCs, airway, breathing, and circulation. Open the airway using the head tilt, chin lift technique. Place one hand on the forehead, the fingertips of the other under the bony part of the chin. Tilt the head back and lift the chin. This technique lifts the tongue away from the back of the throat and opens the airway. Check breathing for 3 to 5 seconds. Keep your ear over the mouth and nose. Watch the chest. Look, listen, and feel. If there is no breathing, give 2 full breaths. Check the pulse. Put your fingers on the Adam's apple and slide them into the groove at the side of the neck near you. Check the pulse for 5 to 10 seconds. After a pulse check, you have enough information to give to the EMS system.
No breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
If you find there is no breathing and there is a pulse, begin rescue breathing. Keep the head tilted to maintain an open airway. Pinch the nose shut. Take a deep breath and breathe into the victim. Seal your lips tightly around the outside of the victim's mouth. Watch the chest rise and fall. Listen and feel for escaping air. Give one breath every 5 seconds. Recheck the pulse after the first minute and every few minutes thereafter. Continue until the victim starts breathing. Another trained rescuer takes over. EMS personnel arrive and take over, or you are too exhausted to continue. To review, in any emergency, after surveying the scene, begin a primary survey.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
Check airway, breathing, and circulation. After the pulse check, you have enough information to call the EMS system.
No breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
If the victim is not breathing but does have a pulse, begin rescue breathing. Keep the airway open and give one full breath every 5 seconds.
Where's Michelle?
Over on 13.
Enjoy your lunch.
So with all your departments working more efficiently...
Is everything okay here?
Fine. Everybody stands to gain by this.
Some more than others.
But you gain more.
Well, it remains to be seen, you know?
Michelle, table 9 is ready to order.
Just got it.
Drinks on 13?
Fine.
John, 5 units, 7 maximum. Set up your line. Network it just...
In an emergency,
Are you all right?
act quickly. Survey the scene and begin a primary survey by checking the airway.
Are you choking? Don't panic.
Give him some water.
Move back.
Out of the way.
If a victim cannot speak, breathe, or cough, the airway is obstructed. Give abdominal thrusts, often called the Heimlich maneuver. It can create an artificial cough that may expel the object.
Joe, get an ambulance.
Yeah, okay.
If a victim loses consciousness, continue giving care. The longer someone goes without oxygen, the more muscles will relax, making it more likely you'll be able to clear the airway. Do not stop until the object is cleared. You can inflate the lungs, or the EMS personnel arrive and take over.
The ambulance is on the way.
Keep breathing.
Although every emergency is different, use the same emergency action principles to guide you. Survey the scene. Do a primary survey. Call the EMS system, and if appropriate, do a secondary survey. If you see someone who may be choking, survey the scene and begin a primary survey by checking the airway.
Are you choking? Help!
Give abdominal thrusts if the victim cannot speak or cough forcefully, or can only cough weakly and is making high-pitched noises. To give abdominal thrusts, stand behind the victim and wrap your arms around the waist. Make a fist. Place the thumb side of your fist against the midline of the abdomen, just above the navel and well below the lower tip of the breastbone. Grasp your fist. Keep your elbows out. Press into the abdomen with quick upward thrusts. Each thrust is a separate and distinct attempt to dislodge the object. Repeat until the object is expelled or until the victim becomes unconscious. If you find an unconscious victim, emergency care begins with a primary survey whether or not you suspect the airway is obstructed.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
Open the airway and check for breathing. If the victim is not breathing and you are unable to breathe into the lungs, retilt the head. You may not have tilted the head far enough. Give breaths again. If you still cannot breathe into the victim, the airway is obstructed.
Airway obstructed. Call EMS.
Give abdominal thrusts. Place the heel of one hand in the middle of the abdomen, above the navel, and below the breastbone. Place your other hand directly on top of the first. Press into the abdomen with quick upward thrusts. Give 6 to 10 thrusts. Do a finger sweep. Grasp both tongue and lower jaw between the thumb and fingers. Lift the jaw. This draws the tongue away from the back of the throat and any object that may be lodged there. Slide your index finger into the mouth along the cheek and deep into the throat. Use a hooking action to dislodge the object and remove it from the mouth. Open the airway and give 2 full breaths. If air will not go in, repeat the sequence. Give 6 to 10 abdominal thrusts. Do a finger sweep. And give 2 breaths. Repeat these steps until the airway is cleared or EMS personnel arrive and take over.
Are you choking? Help!
To review, if a person cannot speak, breathe, or cough, the airway is obstructed. Give abdominal thrusts until the object is expelled or the victim loses consciousness.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
If you find an unconscious victim, first aid begins with a primary survey. If the victim is not breathing and you cannot breathe air into the lungs, retilt the head and give 2 more breaths. If you still cannot breathe into the victim, the airway is obstructed.
Airway obstructed. Call EMS.
Give 6 to 10 abdominal thrusts. Do a finger sweep. And give 2 breaths. Repeat the sequence until the object is expelled or the EMS personnel arrive and take over.
Keep at it, hon. It'll pay off.
Heads up!
Hey, sport. Who won?
Dad, you wouldn't believe it. We rolled over from 37 to 6.
Good for you. You gonna come watch Penn State play Notre Dame?
Absolutely.
Good.
Be right back.
Oh, hi, hon.
Hi.
You need a hand?
No, thanks, I got it. Hey, do you mind if I sew while you watch the game?
No, of course not.
When someone has a cardiac arrest, the heart stops beating and the victim collapses. The signals of a heart attack are not as obvious. This family does not know them.
So, Dad, are we gonna bet?
Huh?
Well, Dad, you have the wrong channel. The game's on 12.
Oh, yeah.
Dad, if we bet, I'll take Notre Dame if you give me 10 points.
10 points against Penn State? You gotta be kidding me. No, sir. It's even or nothing.
Lines the track, gets out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. And the Fighting Irish will open in the backfield defensively as they look at this alignment from Penn State and lead is out there.
What's the matter? Something on your mind?
Huh?
Well, you're not paying any attention to the game. Is anything wrong?
Oh, no. No, it's just a little upset stomach, that's all.
How about some ginger ale?
Yeah, that'd be great, thanks.
Something wrong with that?
Lunch, maybe.
Slicing in is Ron Weissenhofer making the tackle from his inside linebacker position. Fielding by Troy Wilson. And Wilson trying to split the coverage by Penn State. Does get it back about 6 yards.
Feeling any better?
5-yard punt.
What's the score? Anything out while I was gone?
Nope.
On the punter. Good field position for the opening snap from the 38-yard line. Berline to
Dad, are you okay?
Johnson.
You didn't look too good.
Back out of the eye, and Tom
There's nothing wrong with me, okay? Jenny, are you just about done?
Notre Dame. It goes to the freshman from South Bend.
Honey, are you sure you're feeling all right?
Sure, I'm sure.
Wide with Tim Brown. As Brown goes
Jenny, stop playing.
Berline on a rollout. Gets the ball away to Brown. Pulls it in. And it's a first down for Notre Dame at the Penn State 46.
Look, maybe I just need to lie down for a minute. Can I run a couch sport?
Well, they followed Sproul and Heffron right up that right side that time, too. And the Notre Dame offensive line just fired off the line of scrimmage and that time controlled it.
Mark Green is now in at the tailback position for the Irish, replacing Johnson.
Maybe we should call the doctor.
Oh, don't be silly.
Mom, I'm going over to Barb's, okay?
No, honey, not now. Something's wrong. I think we ought to call Dr. Fuller.
Look, forget it. Besides, she's probably not even home now.
What's wrong with Dad?
Look, don't worry about it, honey. Just say hi to Barb for me, okay?
I'm going to call the doctor. Greg, watch your father. Hello, this is Lynn Daniels. Is Dr. Fuller in?
No, but he'll be in the office first thing Monday morning.
Well, it's my husband. He's not feeling well.
Well, if you have an emergency, I can page him.
I don't know, but I think it may be his heart or something.
Then you should call an ambulance right away.
An ambulance?
It's 911. Do it right away.
Okay. Hello. We need an ambulance.
What's your address?
4516 Woodland Hills Court.
What's the nearest cross street to your house?
Seminary Road.
What's the phone number you're calling from?
555-9023.
Okay, what's the problem, ma'am?
It's my husband. I think he's having a heart attack.
Is he breathing?
Yes, but he's having trouble.
Is he awake and conscious?
Yes.
Does he have pain anywhere?
In his chest, yes. Also, his arms hurt.
Has he ever had anything like this happen to him before?
No, I don't think so.
How long has he felt this way, ma'am?
Not long, just maybe 10 minutes or so.
All right. We have a unit on the way. Is there someone you can send out to meet the ambulance?
Yes, my son.
Okay. Send your son outside, and as soon as you hang up, stay with your husband. Try to keep him calm and don't move him.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, come on, Greggy.
Dad, Dad, you're sick. We're better for later.
Look, Greggy, I'll be fine.
No, I don't think so, Dad.
Maybe
Mom told me
you're
to
right.
watch you.
Okay. I'll take it easy.
Greg, honey, go outside and watch for the ambulance.
All right.
Sweetheart, turn the TV off.
Ambulance? I don't
Look,
need...
sweetheart, I called the doctor. He wasn't in. They suggested that I call an ambulance. I think it's a good idea. So just stay calm until it gets here. No, we can't be too careful. It's going to be all right.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can I get in there? What seems to be the problem, sir?
I seem to have this sort of pressure in here. It's sort of like somebody's standing on me or something.
Any trouble breathing?
Yeah, I'm a little short of breath.
Do you have any history of heart disease?
No.
No? How about lung disease? Okay. Let's put some oxygen on you and see if that helps the chest pain. And we'll take your vitals, and paramedic unit's coming in right behind me. We'll check you out and see what's going on, okay?
What we got here?
No history of problems. He's having chest pain and trouble breathing.
Okay. Can you tell me his age, please?
41.
Okay, and his name?
Bill Daniels.
Okay. Can you tell me what's happening? Relax right now. Listen to your heart.
We were watching the game, and all of a sudden he kind of held his chest and his arm.
Heart sounds good.
You say he had a chest pain?
Okay, we're going to hook you up to an
No, we
electric
didn't talk about it. We just
monitor right now.
It's very
Okay. Stick right on your
Do you have
chest.
heart problems or anything like that?
No.
Does he take any medications?
No.
10-4 medical control. I copy an order for an IV, oxygen, and nitroglycerin sublingual.
VO2
Did you
is
copy
ready,
that, Derek?
flowing 4 liters.
All right.
Oxygen is ready, flowing 4
Okay.
liters.
Ms. Daniels,
Get ready
I've
for
talked to
phone.
the doctor at the hospital, and he's okay for us to go ahead and give your husband some medication for his pain that might help ease it, okay?
You want to take the bag? Okay. Just sit tight for a second. Okay. Let's get the card over just a little bit. Okay, nice and easy. Okay, just have a seat back.
First aid for a heart attack depends upon recognizing the signals and taking action. The most significant signal of a heart attack is chest discomfort or pain. It can be uncomfortable pressure and tightness or oppressive, heavy pain. The pain is usually in the center of the chest behind the breastbone. It may spread to one or both shoulders, the arms, neck, jaw, or back. Other signals may be sweating, nausea, or shortness of breath.
What's the matter? Something on your mind?
Huh? Well, no, just a little upset stomach. That's all.
How about some ginger ale?
Oh, that'd be great, thanks.
Many victims deny they are having a heart attack. They will come up with other excuses to explain what they feel. They may not want to admit to themselves or others that they are having a heart attack. In order to help, you must recognize the signals of a heart attack and take action. Have the person stop what he or she is doing and sit or lie down in a comfortable position. Keep the victim still. Call the EMS system for help.
Sorry to bring you guys out for this.
The chances of this man surviving are good because EMS personnel arrived quickly. If his family had suspected a heart attack as soon as the first signals appeared, EMS would have arrived even sooner.
It's not that big a deal.
It's good that you called us when you did, and he's looking much better since
Gonna
we've
be
been
all right?
here. Let's get him down to the hospital and have a doctor look at him.
Okay.
Several factors increase your risk of heart attack. Some you can't control. A history of heart disease in your family. If you are male. If you are elderly. And if you are black. There are factors you can control. Cigarette smoking. High blood pressure. High blood cholesterol. Lack of exercise. Obesity. Uncontrolled diabetes. And stress. Just reading this list will reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease. It takes your effort and a doctor's guidance. Heart attacks seem to strike suddenly, but the conditions that cause them may build up silently for years. You can help reduce deaths from cardiovascular disease by recognizing the signals of a heart attack and taking action. But even better, you can reduce your own risk by learning what causes heart attacks and how you can change your habits to prevent them.
Chained about 3/4 you go. You roll away and circle left, you know. Sitting by the fire, my sweetie and me. Alabama left that corner and you weave that time. In and out around when you meet her again. Swing that girl in promenade. I wanna hear it again. The old piano roll blues. Now those hits.
He needs help.
Life-saving care depends on being able to recognize when help is needed and knowing what to do.
Are you okay? He's unconscious. Not breathing.
If during the primary survey you find a person is not breathing and has no pulse,
Any pulse?
the victim is in cardiac arrest. The heart has stopped beating.
No pulse. Dad, call EMS.
All right.
CPR must be started immediately. It is a combination of rescue breathing and chest compressions.
12, 13, 14.
By breathing into the victim, you keep the lungs supplied with oxygen. By compressing the chest, you keep blood circulating, and blood carries the oxygen to the brain, heart, and other parts of the body.
11 and 12 and 13.
All the body's living cells need a steady supply of oxygen to keep it alive.
1, 2, and
To be effective, breaths and compressions must be performed at a regular rate.
11 and 13 and 14 and 15. 6, 7, 8, 9.
An ambulance is on the way.
12.
Want me to take
13,
over?
14, 15.
If you get tired and another rescuer trained in CPR is available, have him take over.
Still no pulse. And 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. And
Continue
11,
CPR until the victim's heart starts beating.
15.
EMS personnel arrive and take over, or you become too exhausted to continue.
1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5.
They're here.
6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10.
In order to give a
11,
victim
12,
in cardiac arrest the best chance to survive, CPR must be started immediately, and advanced emergency medical care must arrive and take over within 8 to 10 minutes. Remember to always follow the emergency action principles. Survey the scene. Do a primary survey. Call the EMS system. And if appropriate, do a secondary survey. To begin a primary survey, check for unresponsiveness.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
If no response, shout for help and position the victim if necessary. Open the airway. Look, listen, and feel for breathing for 3 to 5 seconds. If the victim is not breathing, give 2 full breaths. Check the pulse for 5 to 10 seconds. If the victim is not breathing and has no pulse, call EMS and begin CPR.
No breathing, no pulse. Call EMS.
In order to give effective compressions, your hands must be in the right place. To find the compression point, follow the lower edge of the rib cage up to the notch where the ribs meet the breastbone. Keep your middle finger on the notch. Place the heel of your other hand on the breastbone next to your index finger. Then place your other hand directly on top. Keep your fingers off the chest. To give compressions, keep your shoulders directly over your hands. Lock your elbows. Keep your arms straight. After 15 compressions, open the airway and give 2 full breaths. Repeat the cycle. Compress the chest of an adult 1.5 to 2 inches. Give compressions at the rate of 80 to 100 per minute. Use your body weight to give the compressions. Compress and release smoothly. Relocate the proper hand position each time you begin compressions. Keep repeating 15 compressions and 2 breaths. After the first 4 complete cycles, check the pulse. If there is no pulse, continue CPR. Start with 2 breaths. Check the pulse every few minutes from then on. If another trained rescuer arrives on the scene, make certain the EMS system has been called.
I know CPR. EMS has been called. Can I help?
Take over CPR.
The first rescuer finishes the cycle with 2 breaths. The second rescuer then checks the pulse for 5 seconds. If there is no pulse, give 2 breaths and start CPR. The first rescuer monitors the second rescuer by feeling for an artificial pulse during each compression and watching the chest rise and fall during breaths.
13 and 14 and 15.
Keep giving CPR until the victim's heart starts beating. EMS personnel arrive and take over, or you become too exhausted to continue.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
To review, begin a primary survey by checking the ABCs. If an unconscious victim is not breathing and has no pulse, call the EMS system and begin CPR.
No breathing, no pulse. Call EMS.
Locate the compression point. Compress and release smoothly. Keep repeating 15 compressions and 2 breaths. Remember, after 4 complete cycles, check the pulse again. Keep giving CPR until the victim's heart starts beating. Another trained rescuer takes over. EMS personnel arrive and take over, or you are too exhausted to continue.
Dad, look. Do you remember the year we were at the Grand Canyon for Thanksgiving? Oh, wow. That was a great time.
Hi, Grandma.
You know, we had so much fun. Rick, you remember that,
Yeah, I want to talk about football. Hey, are you ready to see your favorite alma mater get beaten? I mean, after all, what happened last year, I think we got to try to put you in the lineup. Hold on a second here, Billy. Knows about football. 10 minutes in the TV room, Dad.
I am never going to scrub another pot for the rest of my life.
You'll be eating turkey until Christmas time.
Billy, quit picking at that turkey. I don't believe you didn't get enough to eat for dinner. Honey, would you please take that to the downstairs refrigerator for me, please? Oh, and don't forget to take the family picture before everybody goes home.
What was that? Dad? Dad, are you okay? What happened, Dad? Dad, did you fall?
No, Dad, just stay there. Take it easy. No, don't even try to get up.
Dad, are you having trouble breathing?
What happened, Charlie?
Do you have any pain in your chest, Dad? Is it bad?
I think it's his heart.
Oh, God. Kathy, call an ambulance right now.
Take Mama to the other room. It's okay, Mama.
Dad, I'm going to move behind you and support you. Just lean against me, okay?
Okay, come on, Dad. All right.
All right, Dad, you're doing fine.
Okay, no, don't try and get up, Dad. Just lean back against Josh.
In every emergency situation, no matter where it happens or when, follow the emergency action principles. Survey the scene. Do a primary survey. Call the EMS system. And if appropriate, do a secondary survey.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
In the primary survey, check the ABCs: airway, breathing, and circulation. After the pulse check, you have enough information to give to EMS. Have someone phone the EMS system.
No breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
Rescue breathing is necessary when a person is not breathing but does have a pulse. Keep the airway open and give one breath every 5 seconds.
Are you choking? Help!
If a person cannot speak, breathe, or cough, the airway is obstructed. Press into the abdomen with quick upward thrusts. Perform abdominal thrusts until the object is expelled or the victim loses consciousness.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
For a victim who is unconscious and not breathing, give 2 full breaths. If no air will go in, retilt the head and give 2 more breaths.
Airway obstructed. Call EMS.
If air still will not go in, give 6 to 10 abdominal thrusts. Do a finger sweep and give 2 breaths. Continue this sequence until the object is removed or the EMS personnel arrive and take over.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
The primary survey begins with a check for unresponsiveness. Check the airway, breathing, and circulation. If the victim is not breathing, give 2 full breaths. Check the pulse.
No breathing, no pulse. Call EMS.
If a person is not breathing and has no pulse, begin CPR. Position your hands properly. Give compressions at a rate of 80 to 100 per minute. After 15 compressions, give 2 breaths. Compress and release smoothly. After 4 cycles of 15 compressions and 2 breaths, check the pulse. Continue with CPR until the victim's heart starts beating. Another trained rescuer takes over. EMS personnel arrive and take over. Or you are too exhausted to continue.
Dad,
Okay, Dad,
are you feeling a little better now? Are you comfortable, Dad?
Yeah. Go in the other room.
Excuse me, can I get in there?
Dad, the paramedics
Oh, yeah,
are here
yeah.
now. They're going to take good care of you, Dad, okay?
Can you tell me what happened?
You must be able to recognize the signals of a heart attack. The most significant is chest pain.
What we got, Bob?
He sort of just collapsed. He's having chest pain.
Once you recognize the signals, you must give first aid.
Did this pain come on suddenly? Okay. Is it staying in one spot or is it ready? Did you break out in a cold sweat when it happened?
Have the person stop what he or she is doing and sit or lie down in a comfortable position. Call the EMS system.
Slow, deep breaths.
I'm going to put some oxygen on you, sir. Maybe that'll help the chest pain a little bit, okay?
Are you warm enough, sir?
In this course, you learn how to provide CPR, how to deal with choking and breathing emergencies, how you can reduce the risk of dying from a heart attack, how to recognize the signals of a heart attack and give first aid, and how to use the EMS system effectively.
Lift you up right now. Do a little bump. Ready to go up? Here we go. Okay, now go slow. Okay. Here we go. A little bump.
Today, you learn the important role you play in saving lives.
Ready to go up?
The American Red Cross developed this course in an effort to help reduce the death toll from cardiovascular disease. You can make the difference.
All right, how you doing right now? Let's move it.
Every year, thousands of children and infants die from injuries. Many of these deaths could be prevented. The second half of this course will show you how.
Go right ahead. Pilgrims and Indians, while they're moving, you all can start going off to the right. Come on. Pilgrims and Indians, wait in homeroom. Now go on, hurry up. Okay, set the bed up, get the rug down. Wait in homeroom, Pilgrims and Indians. Vegetables, you should be in place.
Where's my spoon?
What?
I can't find my spoon. Where is it?
Look, we go on tomorrow night. Just go on without him.
In this part of the course, you will learn how to make a home and other environments safe for children, how to prevent and recognize potential childhood emergencies, and when and how to provide emergency care for children and infants.
Again from the top, and yell.
I ate so much dinner, I can't take a bite. It was fun while it lasted, but oh, is this tight.
Make way for the turkey, the king of them all, with his vegetable helpers to join in the ball.
Better.
You guys gotta vote me.
Don't, I'm the director. Don't tell me what to do. I'll tell you. Let's take it from Potatoes line.
Well, get up here! Get up here! Give me my spelling back.
Ha ha, I won.
I promise. Get it now, get it.
In every emergency, remember the emergency action principles. Survey the scene. Do a primary survey. Call EMS. Do a secondary survey.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
In many cases, children suffer respiratory emergencies which quite often go unrecognized. These emergencies can lead to cardiac emergencies. Today, you will learn how to perform rescue breathing for children and infants when a respiratory emergency occurs, such as a near drowning.
Child not breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS. Help! Child choking. Call EMS. I'm going to help you.
In this unit, you will also learn how to recognize and care for a child or infant who has an obstructed airway. You will learn how to clear an obstructed airway for conscious and unconscious infants and children.
Infant not breathing, has no pulse. Call EMS.
Infants and children do not often initially suffer cardiac emergencies, but it can happen. The most common cause is injury from accidents. This course will show you what to do for a child or infant whose heart has stopped beating. You will also learn how to reduce childhood death and injury through early recognition and prevention of potential emergency situations. By knowing what to do, you can help.
Don't park your skates.
Don't park your skates.
On cellar steps.
On cellar steps.
Or toys upon the stairs.
A toy upon the stairs.
You could fall down and break your bones. In ones or threes or pairs.
When a car is coming, never stop in front of it. It's safe to ride on the sidewalk.
Who knows about safety in cars? What's the best thing to do when you first get in the car? What do you do?
Every year, thousands of children die or are seriously hurt from injuries that could have been prevented.
Yeah, I think David. David, you have a car seat in your car, or do you buckle seatbelt?
Injuries are the leading cause of death in young children. The key to preventing childhood injuries is to understand the relationship between a child's development and the environment.
Okay. Woo! You ready?
I got you.
Growing up, a child learns to do many things while gradually exploring broader areas of the world he or she lives in.
What a big boy.
A child's motor skills and abilities change and develop rapidly through infancy, the toddler and preschool age, and into the early school years. You can help protect a child by developing an injury prevention plan. Follow these steps. Remove dangers, give supervision, and teach safety. You should have an injury prevention plan to fit the abilities of infants, toddlers or preschool age children, and young school age children. Infants grow rapidly in their first year. As a result, their relationship to the environment changes just as rapidly. Infants explore the world by putting anything and everything in their mouth. This puts them at risk from choking. Before you know it, they start to twist, roll, crawl, and stand. This puts them at risk from falls. An injury prevention plan for infants should include: remove small objects, such as coins or buttons, from an infant's reach. Avoid giving an infant foods like popcorn, nuts, or grapes. Supervise an infant around and on furniture, such as a changing table, and also in or near water. Teach safety through simple phrases such as no and don't touch. As infants grow to be toddlers and then preschoolers, they become much more active. Toddlers and preschoolers love to run and climb and are into everything.
These things would be really good for you to drink.
An injury prevention plan for children at this stage of development should include:
That makes you stronger.
remove all poisons from reach, including poisonous plants.
Which one of these would you like to have to eat for lunch? Huh?
This one.
Know where a toddler or preschooler is at all times.
On top of the stove. Do we ever touch anything on top of the stove?
No.
No.
Supervise them around stoves, fireplaces, and other hot surfaces.
If you see a handle sticking out from the stove, you might tell them, Mom, you better turn that in.
Teach them the meaning of the word hot and begin to teach them fire safety.
Stops, drops, and roll. Very good. When we have a fire drill in the room, what happens? What do you do?
We run outside.
Do we run outside?
We walk outside.
By the time toddlers and preschoolers are school age, fire safety should be second nature.
Where do we go?
Michael?
We go to exit A.
Exit A, and that is out onto the what?
Playground.
Playground, black.
For school-age children, the world now includes schools, playgrounds, and neighborhoods. They quickly learn new skills as they explore their new environment. At this stage of development, children begin to spend less time with parents and more with other caregivers and their friends.
The things we talked about in our cars.
An injury prevention plan for school-age children should include
about our fire safety.
supervise school-age children in and around the water. Teach them to swim. Teach them how to call emergency numbers for police, fire, and an ambulance. All young children should know their address and telephone number. They should also know their parents' work numbers and a neighbor's number. Make certain bikes and other riding equipment are in good working condition. Buy helmets and other protective gear. Carefully supervise the use of bicycles and other riding toys. Teach children to obey traffic signs and rules. Injury from a motor vehicle is the leading cause of childhood death. As part of an overall injury prevention plan for children of all ages, try to reduce the risk of injury from motor vehicles. Install and use car safety seats and seat belts. And be a good role model by obeying traffic signs and rules and using a seat belt yourself. Children are fascinating in every stage of their growth and development. But as they grow, they need help to prevent childhood injuries. The key is to understand the relationship between a child's development and the environment. All children are at risk from motor vehicles, near drownings, burns, choking, falls, and poisoning. You can use the information in your workbook to help develop an injury prevention plan, to remove dangers, give supervision, and teach safety. Make safety a habit and your top priority. If you do, you can make a difference in the safety of your children and the children of others.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
Children are usually healthy, but an injury, medical condition, or illness can cause a child to stop breathing. It is important to recognize the early signals of a respiratory emergency. The child may be agitated or drowsy and difficult to arouse. There may be a change in skin color or an increase in breathing or heart rate.
Child not breathing, has pulse, call EMS.
If you encounter a child that may need help, you must act fast. This unit will teach you how to give rescue breathing to a child age 1 through 8 who has stopped breathing. Rescue breathing for a child is similar to that for an adult. Begin a primary survey by checking for unresponsiveness.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
Position the child on his or her back. Roll the child as a unit while supporting the head and neck. Open the airway using the head tilt chin lift method. Tilt the head gently back and lift the chin. The airway of a child is different from that of an adult or infant and changes with the child's age. As a result, there is more than one correct position for opening a child's airway. The range of positions between neutral for an infant and extended for an adult is called neutral plus. To open a child's airway, tilt the head back into the neutral plus position. Avoid closing the mouth or pushing on the soft parts under the chin. Look, listen, and feel for breathing for 3 to 5 seconds. If there is no breathing, give 2 slow breaths at the rate of 1 to 1.5 seconds per breath. Look for the chest to rise and fall. Check the carotid pulse. Feel for 5 to 10 seconds. Tell a bystander to call EMS.
Child not breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
If the child has a pulse but is not breathing, begin rescue breathing. Give 1 breath every 4 seconds. Look, listen, and feel for breathing. Continue for 1 minute, about 15 breaths. Breathe in only enough air to make the chest rise. After 1 minute of rescue breathing, recheck the pulse for 5 seconds. If there is a pulse, check breathing for 3 to 5 seconds. If the child is still not breathing, continue rescue breathing. Give 1 breath every 4 seconds. Recheck the pulse every minute. Continue rescue breathing until the child starts breathing, another trained rescuer takes over, EMS personnel arrive, or you are too exhausted to continue. To review, if you discover a child who may need help, begin with a primary survey. Check for unresponsiveness.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
Roll the child onto his or her back. Open the airway by tilting the head into the neutral plus position. Look, listen, and feel for breathing. If the child is not breathing, give 2 slow breaths. Check the pulse for 5 to 10 seconds. Tell a bystander to call EMS.
Child not breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
Begin rescue breathing. Give 1 breath every 4 seconds. Continue for 1 minute. Recheck the pulse. Check for signs of breathing. If the child has a pulse but is still not breathing, continue rescue breathing. Give 1 breath every 4 seconds. Recheck the pulse every minute.
Are you choking? Help! Child choking. Call EMS. I'm going to help you.
Children can easily choke on food or small objects. First aid for a child who is choking is similar to first aid for an adult. Give abdominal thrusts. Begin with a primary survey.
Are you choking?
If the child cannot cough, speak, or breathe, or can only cough weakly or make high-pitched noises, the airway is obstructed.
Help! Child choking. Call EMS. I'm going to help you.
Stand or kneel behind the child. Wrap your arms around the child's waist. Make a fist. Place the thumb side of your fist against the middle of the abdomen, just above the navel and well below the lower tip of the breastbone. Grasp your fist. Keep your elbows out, away from the child. Give abdominal thrusts by pressing into the middle of the abdomen with quick upward movements. Make each thrust a separate attempt to dislodge the object. Repeat abdominal thrusts until the obstruction is cleared or the child becomes unconscious. If you discover a child not moving and suspect something may be wrong, begin with a primary survey.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
If the child is not breathing, give 2 breaths. If you cannot breathe into the child, retilt the head and give 2 more breaths. If air still will not go in, the airway is obstructed.
Child choking, call EMS.
First aid for an unconscious child with an airway obstruction is a combination of 3 steps: abdominal thrusts, foreign body check, and 2 slow breaths. Begin with abdominal thrusts. Kneel at the child's feet. Straddle the child if he or she is large. Place the heel of one hand against the middle of the abdomen, just above the navel and well below the tip of the breastbone. Place your other hand on top of the first hand. Keep your fingers pointed toward the child's head. Press into the abdomen 6 to 10 times with quick upward thrusts. Do a foreign body check. Open the mouth by grasping the tongue and lower jaw between your thumb and fingers. Lift the jaw upward. If you see an object, try to remove it with a finger sweep. Slide your finger along the inside of the cheek to the base of the tongue. Use a hooking action to remove the object. Do a finger sweep only when you can see the object. Otherwise, you may push the object deeper into the throat. Open the airway. Give 2 slow breaths. If you cannot breathe into the child, repeat the sequence. Give 6 to 10 abdominal thrusts. Do a foreign body check. Give 2 slow breaths. Continue until the obstruction is cleared or EMS personnel arrive and take over. To review, if a child cannot cough, speak, or breathe, or can only cough weakly or make high-pitched noises, the airway is obstructed.
Are you choking? Help! Child choking. Call EMS. I'm going to help you.
Call EMS and give abdominal thrusts. Continue until the obstruction is cleared or the child becomes unconscious. If you discover a child not moving and suspect something may be wrong, begin a primary survey.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
If the child is not breathing, give 2 slow breaths. If you cannot breathe into the child, retilt the head and give 2 more breaths.
Child choking, call EMS.
If you still cannot breathe into the child, the airway is obstructed. Give 6 to 10 abdominal thrusts. Do a foreign body check. If you see an object, try to remove it with a finger sweep. Give 2 slow breaths. Continue the sequence of abdominal thrusts, foreign body checks, and 2 slow breaths until the obstruction is cleared or EMS personnel arrive and take over.
you okay? Are you okay? Help!
A child's heart is usually healthy. Unlike an adult, a child does not often initially suffer a cardiac emergency. In most cases, a child first suffers a respiratory emergency. If the emergency is not recognized and cared for, the child's heart can stop beating.
No breathing, no pulse. Call EMS.
If a child's heart does stop beating, you must act fast.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
In this unit, you will learn how to give CPR to a child, age 1 through 8.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
To determine if a child needs CPR, begin with a primary survey. Check for unresponsiveness.
Are you okay? Help!
Position the child on his or her back. Roll the child as a unit while supporting the head and neck. Open the airway by gently tilting the head into the neutral plus position. Check for breathing for 3 to 5 seconds. If the child is not breathing, give 2 slow breaths. Check the carotid pulse. If there is no pulse, begin chest compressions.
No breathing, no pulse. Call EMS.
Locate the correct compression position. Slide your middle finger up the rib cage to the notch at the lower end of the breastbone. Place your middle finger in the notch and your index finger next to it. Lift your fingers and place the heel of your hand on the breastbone just above the spot where your index finger was placed. With your shoulder directly over your hand, give 5 compressions. Compress the breastbone 1 to 1.5 inches. Compress at the rate of 80 to 100 times per minute.
4 and 5.
Keep the head tilted with your other hand. Remove your hand from the chest and lift the chin. Give 1 slow breath. Visually locate the compression position. Place your hand back in position and resume compressions. Do 10 cycles of 5 compressions and 1 breath. After the 10th cycle, recheck the pulse for 5 seconds. If there is no pulse, give 1 breath. Continue the cycle of 5 compressions and 1 breath.
4 and 5.
Recheck the pulse every few minutes.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Continue CPR until the heart starts beating, another trained rescuer takes over, EMS personnel arrive, or you are too exhausted to continue. To review, if you discover a child not moving and suspect something may be wrong, begin with a primary survey. Check for unresponsiveness.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help!
Position the child on his or her back. Open the airway to the neutral plus position. Check for breathing. If the child is not breathing, give 2 slow breaths. Check the pulse. If there is no pulse, begin CPR immediately.
No breathing, no pulse. Call EMS.
Locate the correct compression position. Give 5 chest compressions.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Give 1 slow breath.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Keep repeating cycles of 5 compressions and 1 breath.
4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
After 10 complete cycles, recheck the pulse. If there is no pulse, give 1 breath and continue CPR.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Recheck the pulse every minute.
1 and
2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Help!
Injuries are a leading cause of death in infants less than 1 year old. As with children, an injury, medical condition, or illness can cause an infant to stop breathing. It is important to recognize the early signals of a respiratory emergency: agitation, drowsiness, change in skin color, or an increase in breathing or heart rate.
Infant not breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
Rescue breathing can save the life of an infant who has stopped breathing. If you encounter an infant who may need help, begin with a primary survey. Check for unresponsiveness. Shout for help.
Help!
Open the airway. Gently tilt the head back into the neutral position. Avoid closing the mouth completely or pushing on the soft parts under the chin. With the airway open, look, listen, and feel for breathing for 3 to 5 seconds. If the infant is not breathing, give 2 slow breaths. Seal your lips tightly around the infant's mouth and nose. Breathe into the infant. Give breaths at a rate of 1 to 1.5 seconds per breath. Breathe only enough air to make the chest rise. Check the brachial pulse. With your index and middle fingers, press against the inside of the upper arm, midway between the shoulder and elbow. Feel for 5 to 10 seconds. Tell a bystander to call EMS.
Infant not breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
If you feel a pulse but the infant is not breathing, begin rescue breathing. Keep the airway open. Seal your lips around the infant's mouth and nose. Give 1 breath every 3 seconds. Look, listen, and feel for breathing. Continue rescue breathing for 1 minute, about 20 breaths. Recheck the brachial pulse for 5 seconds. If the infant still has a pulse, check breathing for 3 to 5 seconds. If the infant is still not breathing, continue rescue breathing. Give 1 breath every 3 seconds. Recheck the pulse every minute. Continue rescue breathing until the infant starts breathing, another trained rescuer takes over, EMS personnel arrive, or you are too exhausted to continue. To review, if you discover an infant who may need help, begin with a primary survey. Check for unresponsiveness.
Help!
Open the airway by gently tilting the head back into the neutral position. Look, listen, and feel for breathing. Give 2 slow breaths. Check the brachial pulse for 5 to 10 seconds. Tell a bystander to call EMS.
Infant not breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
If the infant has a pulse but is not breathing, begin rescue breathing. Give 1 breath every 3 seconds. Continue for 1 minute. Recheck the pulse. Check for signs of breathing. If the infant has a pulse but is still not breathing, continue rescue breathing. Give 1 breath every 3 seconds. Recheck the pulse every minute.
Help! Infant choking. Call EMS.
A piece of food or a small object can easily lodge in an infant's airway. When this happens, the infant can quickly stop breathing, become unconscious, and die. First aid for a conscious choking infant is a combination of back blows and chest thrusts. Begin with a primary survey. Look for signs of choking. If the infant cannot cough, breathe, or cry, or can only cough weakly or make high-pitched noises, the airway is obstructed. Tell a bystander to call EMS.
Help! Infant choking. Call EMS.
Grasp the jaw with your thumb and fingers. Support the head and neck as you turn the infant face down along your forearm. Lower the infant to your thigh. With the heel of your hand, give 4 back blows forcefully between the infant's shoulder blades. Give 4 chest thrusts. Hold the infant between your hands and forearms. Turn the infant onto his or her back. Locate the compression position. To locate the correct position, imagine a line connecting the infant's nipples. Place your ring finger just below this line. Place your middle and index fingers next to your ring finger. Lift your ring finger. If you feel the notch under your fingers, slide them slightly toward the head. Give 4 chest thrusts. Compress the chest 1/2 to 1 inch. Make each thrust a separate attempt to dislodge the object. Continue giving back blows and chest thrusts until the obstruction is cleared or the infant becomes unconscious. To review, if an infant cannot cough, breathe, or cry, or can only cough weakly or make high-pitched noises, the airway is obstructed.
Help! Infant choking. Call EMS.
Give 4 back blows, followed by 4 chest thrusts. Continue the sequence of back blows and chest thrusts until the object is cleared or the infant becomes unconscious.
Help!
If you discover an infant lying unusually still, begin with a primary survey. If you cannot breathe into the infant, the airway is obstructed.
Infant choking. Call EMS.
First aid for an unconscious infant with an airway obstruction is a combination of 4 steps: back blows, chest thrusts, a foreign body check, and 2 slow breaths. Now watch the skill in detail. Begin with a primary survey. Check for unresponsiveness. Shout for help.
Help!
Open the airway by gently tilting the head back into the neutral position. Check for breathing. If the infant is not breathing, give 2 slow breaths. If you cannot breathe into the infant, retilt the head and give 2 more breaths. If you still cannot breathe into the infant, the airway is obstructed.
Infant choking. Call EMS.
Position the infant along your forearm. Lower the infant to your thigh and give 4 back blows. Turn the infant onto his or her back. Locate the compression position. Give 4 chest thrusts. Compress the chest 1/2 to 1 inch. Make each thrust a separate attempt to dislodge the object. Do a foreign body check. Open the airway to the neutral position. Grasp the tongue and lower jaw between your thumb and fingers. Lift the jaw upward. If you see an object, try to remove it with a finger sweep. Slide your little finger along the inside of the cheek to the base of the tongue. Use a hooking action to remove the object. Remember, use a finger sweep only when you can see the object. Give 2 slow breaths. If you cannot breathe into the infant, repeat the sequence. Give 4 back blows. Give 4 chest thrusts. Do a foreign body check. And give 2 slow breaths. Repeat these steps until the obstruction is cleared or EMS personnel arrive and take over. To review, if you see an infant lying unusually still, begin a primary survey. Check for unresponsiveness.
Help!
Open the airway to the neutral position. Check for breathing. If the infant is not breathing, give 2 slow breaths. If you cannot breathe into the infant, retilt the head and give 2 more breaths. If you still cannot breathe into the infant,
choking,
the airway is obstructed. Position the victim and give 4 back blows. Locate the compression position and give 4 chest thrusts. Do a foreign body check. If you see an object, try to remove it with a finger sweep. Give 2 breaths. Continue the sequence of back blows, chest thrusts, foreign body checks, and 2 breaths until the object is cleared or EMS personnel arrive and take over.
Help!
A respiratory emergency that is not recognized, an injury, or an illness can cause an infant's heart to stop beating. If an infant's heart does stop beating, you must begin CPR immediately.
No breathing, no pulse. Call EMS. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
To determine if an infant needs CPR, begin with a primary survey.
Help!
If the infant is unresponsive, open the airway by gently tilting the head back into the neutral position. Check for breathing. If the infant is not breathing, give 2 slow breaths. Seal your lips tightly around the infant's mouth and nose. Breathe in only enough air to make the chest rise. While keeping the head in the neutral position, check the brachial pulse. Press against the inside of the upper arm, midway between the shoulder and elbow. Feel for 5 to 10 seconds. If there is no pulse, begin CPR.
Infant not breathing, has no pulse. Call EMS.
Hold the infant's head in the neutral position. Use your other hand to locate the compression position. To locate the correct position, imagine a line connecting the infant's nipples. Place your index finger on the breastbone just below this line. Place your middle and ring fingers next to your index finger. Lift your index finger. If you feel the notch under your fingers, slide them slightly toward the head. Use your fingers to give 5 compressions. Compress the chest 1/2 to 1 inch. Compress at the rate of at least 100 times per minute.
3 and 4 and 5.
After the 5th compression,
1 and 2 and
give
3
one
and 4
slow
and
breath.
5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Do 10 cycles of 5 compressions and 1 breath.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
After the 10th cycle, recheck the pulse for 5 seconds. If you do not find a pulse, continue CPR. Begin with 1 breath. Continue with cycles of 5 compressions and 1 breath.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
Recheck the pulse every few minutes.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Continue CPR until the infant's heart starts beating. Another trained rescuer takes over, EMS personnel arrive, or you are too exhausted to continue. To review, begin by checking for unresponsiveness.
Help!
Open the airway by tilting the head into the neutral position. If the infant is not breathing, give 2 slow breaths. Check the brachial pulse. If there is no pulse, have a bystander call EMS. Begin CPR.
Infant not breathing, has no pulse. Call EMS.
Locate the compression position. Give 5 compressions and 1 slow breath.
1 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Remember, after 10 cycles, recheck the pulse. If there is no pulse,
1 and 2 and
continue
3 and 4
CPR.
and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
This is how the Pilgrims and Indians celebrated the first Thanksgiving in Massachusetts.
To review emergency care for children and infants, remember, in many cases, children suffer respiratory emergencies that quite often go unrecognized. These emergencies can lead to cardiac emergencies.
You should be coming out at the same time. Wait in homeroom, Pilgrims and Indians. Okay, set the bed up, get the rug down. Good.
In every emergency, remember the emergency action principles. Survey the scene. Do a primary survey. Call the EMS system. And do a secondary survey. If you see a child who needs help, begin a primary survey. Check for unresponsiveness.
Are you okay? Help!
Open the airway. Look, listen, and feel for breathing. If there is no breathing, give 2 breaths. Check pulse.
Child not breathing. Has pulse. Call EMS.
If there is no breathing but there is a pulse, call the EMS system and begin rescue breathing. Give 1 breath every 4 seconds for a child, every 3 seconds for an infant. Recheck the pulse after 1 minute. If a respiratory emergency is recognized and cared for, many child and infant cardiac emergencies can be avoided.
Are you choking? Help! Child choking. Call EMS.
If
I'm
a
going to
child
help you.
cannot speak, breathe, or cough, or can only cough weakly or make high-pitched noises, the airway is obstructed. Call the EMS system and give abdominal thrusts. Continue until the object is cleared or the child becomes unconscious. Being able to recognize when a child or infant has an airway obstruction is key to saving the child's life. If you discover an obstructed airway in an unconscious child,
Child choking, call EMS.
give 6 to 10 abdominal thrusts. Do a foreign body check. If you see an object, try to remove it with a finger sweep. Give 2 slow breaths. Continue the sequence of abdominal thrusts, foreign body check, and 2 slow breaths until the object is cleared or EMS personnel arrive and take over.
Help!
The heart of a child or infant is normally healthy. However, if you discover an unconscious child or infant, if he or she cannot breathe and does not have a pulse, have someone call the EMS system and begin CPR.
Infant not breathing, has no pulse. Call EMS.
Locate the compression position. Give 5 compressions and 1 slow breath.
1 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
After 10 cycles,
1
check
and
the
2
pulse.
And 3 and 4 and 5.
If there is no pulse, give 1 breath and continue CPR. Recheck the pulse every few minutes.
2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Today, you learned how to reduce childhood death and injury through early recognition and prevention of potential emergencies.
Ha ha! I won!
Every year, thousands of children and infants die from injuries. Many of these deaths could be prevented.
What?
It's Greg. He swallowed something.
What? Where is he?
In the homeroom. Come on. Miss Fernandez. Well, he had something in his throat. And he choked.
Greg, are you all right? Are you okay? Take care of the kids.
Okay, kids, over here. Help me out here, Kippen. Come on over here, Ricky. Okay, what happened? Craig?
Well, you see, first I poked him in the back with a spoon, and he choked.
What happened with the teeth?
Where
are the
got
teeth?
swallowed.
Swallow the teeth.
And he got stuck in his throat.
Okay, it's all right, honey. It's not your fault, sweetheart. It was an accident. Miss Fernandez is going to help him.
He's not breathing. Take the kids and call an ambulance.
Okay,
It's 911.
Out in the hall.
Respiratory and cardiac emergencies can happen to children and infants. Today you learned how to recognize these emergencies, when to begin emergency care, and how to provide this care for children and infants. The American Red Cross developed this course in an effort to help reduce the deaths from childhood injuries. Today you learn the important role you play in saving lives. You can make a difference.
An ambulance is on the way. Good. He's breathing okay now. I found this piece of wax in his mouth. He must have choked on it.